Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
He sees a sign that says, all you can drink, $1. Goes up to the bartender and says, I have $2 worth. You know, we just don't know what's enough. Too much is never enough. Too much is never enough. I wish I had all of the money I put into buying cocaine. I'd pay all my bills, buy a home in the hills, and a lot of other things I could name. I'd open a store on Rodeo and put a down payment on a yacht and donate to Goodwill and take a trip to Brazil and a lot of other things I forgot because I snorted a Porsche Carrera and I snorted a color TV and jewelry and clothes all went up my nose and vacations in Egypt and Bali. So I got me an 18-wheeler chock full of flaky, pearly cocaine and crawled in the back, had a heart attack and blew away the good part of my brain. Now I'm living in an empty apartment. They took back my camper in May for my nosebleed and operation I need, but I scored another quarter today. Why stop now? Okay, I won't. So I got a burning cerebellum, and I don't even care. I got an edgy, nasty temper, and I'm jumpy everywhere. I'm full of fear and paranoia, and I guess maybe it's true that I'm an alcoholic junkie, but I'm not afraid of you. No, I'm not hungry. Yes, I'm cranky, and I need another hit. I haven't slept for days. I just need a little bit. Yes, I've got a bad aroma. No, I don't know what I'll do, but don't you try to change me. I don't want to be like you. I ripped off my mom and dad and lost everything I own, but I don't need a lot of friends. I just want to be alone. And the whisper by the window and the noise outside the door, well, I'm sure they'll go away if I just do a little more. And sitting in a shutter, I'm waiting in the dark. I'm sweating and half naked, and I think I hear a narc. Out there hiding in the trees, you know, it could be anyone, a Nazi or a biker. This is not a lot of fun. But I've got my 12-gauge shotgun, and I've got my 45, and anyone comes through that door, well, they won't get out alive. I can't stop my heart from pounding, so I take another hit. And when my head cracks on the floor, I fall into a fit. And on my knees, I'm begging God, don't let me die today. I'm crying out, dear Lord, I will do anything you say. I don't really have a problem. There are people far worse off than me. I've only had one blackout, 2 convulsions, maybe 3. I can pick it up or put it down, stop anytime I want, but I heard a psychedelic's coming out made by DuPont. If you can prove you're better off and that I'm going to die, I might consider quitting, not cold turkey. But I'd try, and I'd control my using, and I'm sure that I'd be fine. But don't talk to me about AA. I won't give up my wine. Why would I? So we have this allergy of the body and this obsession of the mind. We have a disease that tells us we don't have a disease. Trippy, huh? And we're not like them. We just have this thing that's going on in our DNA or whatever it is that got triggered by our actions or what we inherited. And for whatever reason, we find ourselves unable to control our enthusiasm. Help me. Compulsion? I guess compulsion. God, I've been sober 11 and a half years, and I just saw a guy, one of the guys here, I don't see you now, but he had tattoos of stars all over his arms, and I thought, wow, I bet that looks really great on acid. It just doesn't go away. And so we can't stop thinking about it. Even to the big problem today is that you go through problems, and you don't have any escape. It isn't like it gets better if you keep using, or if you take some time off and get clean and then go back. It's not like it gets better. It always gets worse. In all the years I've been around here, I have never heard a guy say, oh man, thank God I got away from that. AA is the worst time of my life. When I got back on drugs and started drinking again, my business flourished, everything got better. I had a career. I've never heard that. But in our own private hells, we said, it happens to me a lot when I'm driving, and I need to get someplace. Get out of the way or I will kill you. I want to drive into people at random because they should know that I have an agenda, I have a place that I have to be. So what do I do with all this rage and all this anxiety and all this? I got to find a way to deal with the hole in my stomach. I got this vortex that's sucking all the light into it. It's going, oh, you don't know about anything. It's all, yeah, it's in here. And I know how to end it. You just make a quick call or just stop by a store and pick up a little something to drink. You feel a lot better. And I'm sure it'll work this time. I have found myself waxing romantic about Courvoisier, things that burn, tequila. But see, I didn't have a drinking problem. And I don't have any reason to have this problem. You see, my parents didn't drink or smoke or use drugs or fight in front of us. We had this Norman Rockwell kind of childhood in North Dakota. I am not supposed to be here. There was an error somewhere. So I can't blame it on my dad. Well, yeah, my dad, well, he was a drunk. So I must not have the problem, I guess. And I wasn't really ready for drinking and using drugs. My biggest problem when I was growing up was when I left to go to college was that I really felt insecure. I was really afraid of all you people. When I came out to California for the first time to go to Art Center School, I thought, or San Diego State was going to be one of the two, and I saw how cool everyone was in California. I never mentioned it again. I went back to North Dakota and went to school there because they all knew that I wasn't one of them. And they all knew that I was just this hick from North Dakota who really didn't have it together. And I always envied the people from the big cities who could talk fast and have a lot of things to say and always had an opinion about things and could convince you of their opinions with nonstop jibber-jabber that could go on and on and on. And all you had to do was just kind of follow it and you go, oh yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. I wanted to be able to keep up with all of those people, and I didn't feel that I could. It's kind of quiet and withdrawn. So I found radio and drama. And in college, I drank to be a part of the gang at the fraternity. I didn't really obsess on it, didn't care that much about it. In my fourth year of college, I got high for the first time. But it was just an herb, and it isn't the kind of thing that leads you to heroin or anything. was just like, grass. And all of my friends did it, and they said, well, you got to get high. And so they all got us together with this big hookah in this room with a $50,000 sound system. I think it was 50,000. It must have been at least 50,000. Because when we started going blip, 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 the music got better. It got to be substantial. It had like edges. Some of it was chrome plated. It had a lot of weight. Pretty soon I was rolling in the sound. And then I got it. And I said to them, oh, well, no wonder you haven't been able to explain this to me and what you've been trying to tell me about this for so long, because it's like something you can't explain to somebody. It's like trying to explain the color blue to a blind man, or trying to explain the ocean to someone who's never seen water. I mean, it's like an experiential thing. Yeah, God, I'm so thirsty. And I bought my first key about 10 days later. So I went from that to moving to Boston, and in Boston, they said, you want to try some acid? And well, what's acid? Well, it's just, it's like grass. It lasts longer, and it's a little bit stronger. Cool. So I did that in Boston, had a hideous experience, terrified out of my mind. Didn't stop me. Became part of my life. So now it's marijuana and acid. So I come out to California finally when I moved out here to get a job, and I was working a lot. I had a job of responsibility. And guy says to me, you're really working a lot of hours. You should see my doctor, Dr. Lax. I didn't make that name. It's like a comic book character, isn't it? Dr. Lax. 320 pounds of, I'll give you whatever you want, Shadoe. So Dr. Lax, I've been Dexamel, I think, I ran out, and, well, you should probably change up. Have you tried Black Beauties? Fine, good. But Dr. Lax, I'm having a little trouble relaxing. And he goes, well, you had Quaaludes last month. You want to try Tuinol? Bitchin'. So I did this with Dr. Lax for many years, and did acid and smoked a lot of grass, about 30 joints a day, and I could operate and function in the real world, and it was actually, kind of fun, because I had lots of energy, and then of course I had the buffer to slow things down, take the edge off, and then I had the percolated world of the marijuana, just give me a little twist this way. And so I could function, and my job went fine, and there were a lot of creative things happening. One time on a very serious acid trip, I caught a glimpse of something that I knew I had to find my way back to without drugs. I didn't know how. So I started studying meditation and metaphysics and comparative religion and quantum physics and all that kind of stuff, and trying to figure out, what is this all about? I can't find my way to get this glimpse again. And that became a part of my life throughout my drug use, this search for a spiritual life and for answers on the quantum level. And about, 8 years later, I decided I would get clean and give up everything. And for about a year, I did. I stopped using all drugs. And then a guy came into my studio one day, and he put down an ounce of cocaine and said, help yourself. Well, I'm sorry, I don't do that anymore. He goes, oh, really? You? Wow. Ooh. Well, you don't mind if I do you? It's just for the work. Well, it was a very long night. And, after a few hours, I kept glancing down. I thought, what the hell? It's been a year. I could have like a little needle line. Then I had another, because you have two nostrils. Had to balance it off to get an equal adjustment with a couple more. And we stopped 4 days later. And about a week later, I bought my first ounce. It worked for a while. And then it had the audacity to not get me there anymore. I had all the inclinations of wanting to get there and relive those fun-filled moments of gleeful enthusiasm where we were solving all the problems of the world and everybody feeling kind of glow-like and being really creative and talking a lot. But all it was is kind of like this. And the inexplicable thing is, and this goes back to this obsession of the mind and this disease that tells us you don't have a disease, it tells you that if you do a little more, you'll feel better. Damn. So I took that right into the river. I mean, no matter how ugly and horrified I was, I thought if I did a little more, it would get better. Went home one night, 1 a.m, went to the bathroom for a couple hours. When I came out, I heard this by the window. I crawled over to the window and I peered out. Didn't seem to be anything out there, so I put sheets over the window and the doors. Then it occurred to me that you can see silhouettes through the sheets, so I put quilts over the sheets and the doors. Then it occurred to me that you can see through cracks wherever you're holding up the quilts. So I put nails at 1-inch intervals around the quilts, the windows and the doors. I sat down naked to the waist. I had my 12 gauge and my 45. I heard this outside the window. I turned off the light. I heard this. I decided I had gone insane, or there was someone out there. I crept out very Clint Eastwood style. You'd have been proud. Sat down beneath the window and waited. After about 10 minutes, I decided I'd gone insane. And then I heard a rustle in the bush. I jumped up screaming, "Now you die!" And I ran through the bush with my gun. And they got away. So I went back to the bathroom to celebrate. So I drank a little more, and I snorted coke, and I smoked it, and I took pills, and I drank, and it's like can't get enough in, but I'll feel better. So then, I'm completely naked by now. I weighed 225 pounds of steaming, bloated, toxin-filled. You didn't want to be there. And I rocked back on the floor. My eyes went up to my head, and my tongue darted out. And my head hit the floor like this. My body rocked. And when I came to, I went, now that was a hit. So, my doctor told me I was going to die, and he says, if you're lucky, you're going to die. He said, if you're lucky, you're going to die. You're so full of toxins, your cholesterol is so high, you're so overweight, you're so gone, you're a time bomb. I suspect you won't get out so easy as dying. You'll probably have a heart attack, stroke, something. So something will happen that'll ruin your life, and you'll walk around dragging your arm or your leg, or be wheeled around, or maybe you won't be able to talk anymore. I went, yeah, I know, but I don't know how to stop. And I was praying every day, God help me, I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop. All I could think of is I needed more, and as bad as I felt, more would make me better. And it never did. It got worse and worse, but more would make me better. What is that? So he said, I heard about AA, and I've heard they've had a lot of success. Well, no, no. I can't deal with that. I have this idea that if I just took some time off and went to Hawaii, and then, took up like skydiving, and would free fall from 15,000 feet out of an airplane toward the ground, it would be such a rush that I would want to voluntarily give up drugs because this would be a better high than any drug could possibly ever give me. He said, many months went by before I finally did get sober, and it was pretty hideous. It was pretty ugly. And my parents finally found out about it, and they said, maybe you should, try and get some help. You can't do this alone. You can't do this alone. That's why we're here. We can't do this alone. You can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. For any of you who are here for the first time, you can't do it alone. Brain says, I don't have a problem. And it keeps saying it no matter how long you've been sober. I don't have a problem. You got to keep coming around here to remind yourself, I got a problem. I got to find a way to deal with life. I need a formula. I need a formula for sobriety. That's what we all want anyway, a quick and easy answer to everything. Where's the formula? When I finally went in the hospital and my roommate and I were voted the least likely to succeed, after a couple of weeks, somebody talked to me and a bell rang, and it's like one of those things, start meditating again, get a spiritual life, listen to what they're saying. There's some things rang. You need a better attitude. He says you need to have a sense of humor. This is one thing I could relate to. I got to have a sense of humor. I can't make it without a sense of humor. I have to be able to laugh. I have to be able to laugh at myself and all the mistakes I made. I have to be able to laugh about the things that are going on in my life. I have to be able to let go. And what I found in Alcoholics Anonymous was this pathway, these steps, this way to go that was really hard and not so hard. It seemed really hard at the beginning, but as I made more steps, I started to get it. Like, one day at a time. I just get through today. Let it go. Surrender. And then there was this whole thing about dealing with my life. What do I do with all this fear? What do I do with all this anxiety? All the good parts have passed me by. Now I'm in hell. No matter what it is, no matter how good my life has been, no matter what I've succeeded at, that's all in the past, and I've used up all my good karma. Now it's going to be really awful for the rest of my life. This is my mind is always telling me. And what AA tells me is that all I have to do is show up and, walk the walk. And the 12 steps that seemed so massive in the beginning weren't quite so ominous after I'd tried it a bit. Because it was based on 3 ideas. The first idea was this idea that I've made a mess of my life by my own actions. By just choosing to do what I want to do, I've made a mess of my life. How do I deal with that? Do I admit that? You go, that's like not a real stretch for any of us in this room that have been, down in hell. Okay, got that part. My life is messed up. Maybe, just possibly, there's this power. There's something bigger than me. There's this all-knowing, omnipotent, omnipresent, transcendental power, this thing that they called God. It has all these different names, and you go, oh, God, the word God just messes me up because I was raised a Presbyterian. And I was raised a Catholic. I have all this guilt. We have God. The word God is like, it throws us all up. Oh, God, I don't believe in God. Why would I? I just want a formula to get along. Well, this idea that there's something there bigger than us in this universe that's infinite beyond comprehension is just a really good possibility. So you go, okay, I give. Wherever you are, whoever you are, take it off. I can't carry it alone. I surrender. I give up. That's the first idea. It's the first 3 steps. It's basically that idea. Then there's 2 more ideas. One is I carry around these secrets, these anxieties, these deep, dark problems that no one could ever know about because no one's ever gone through anything like this, like me, and no one has ever done the humiliating things that I've done. So we carry those things around, and they add to the bulk that you carry. So what do you do about it? You sit down and you write. And once you start writing and devote yourself to it, it kind of comes out like mental diarrhea. Just kind of gushes on the page. You just write and write and write and write and write. And there's like formulas for this too. It's pretty easy. The formula is right there if you just ask. You just kind of fill in the blanks. Oh yeah, this guy. I did this to him. Oh God. And then the act of seeing your sponsor and reading it to them is like a real act of surrender. I give it up. And then the 2 of you together give it up. You just say this little thing, okay, God, or whatever you are, take it. And it's a funny thing that happens is this tremendous weight lifts off your shoulders. That's the second idea. And the third idea is I've done things to other people. And you just can't carry that kind of stuff around. It just adds to the bulk, and it adds to the things that gnaw at your brain. It isn't the big things in sobriety that make you go out and get drunk or use again. There's a whole bunch of little things. The stuff that creeps up on you from the back. It's really insidious. It's the stuff that makes you go, all right, fuck it. Can't get enough in. Can't get enough in. Okay, I feel better now. It's all these little things, and the little things are what they weed out in the 12 steps. The third idea is I did these things to other people, and so I just go and confront it. I say, okay, here's what the story is. I spent all these years being a drunk and an addict, and I did this to you, and I want you to know I'm acknowledging it, and I want that if there's any way I can do something about it or apologize to you or make it right to you, I'm here, I'm going to try. And this weight lifts off. The rest of the 12 steps are about staying sober. It's about writing it down. It's like what you're doing with those steps anyway. You're writing it down. And, you just make like a journal. You say the date today and you write, well, I feel like shit today. So it's driving me crazy and I'm scared to death and I don't know what I'm going to do. And okay, and this is happening and that's happening, the end. And you just do that. And it's sort of, for me, it's like telling the fictitious story of somebody that you kind of like, that you identify with, to an anonymous someone who just happens to be yourself. But the act of getting it out of your brain and onto the paper takes away some of the problem. Prayer and meditation, prayer and meditation, prayer and meditation. I believe that the whole program is a spiritual program. It's that constant effort of trying to find some kind of God consciousness in your life. Whatever it is, whatever path it is, it's the effort of trying to find what's beyond this. I'm going to die someday. This is going to die. Then what? I'm going to wait till the last minute until I'm dying and go, oh shit. Oh shit, what now? So you make the effort and you surrender. You surrender and you give up. And you know what? Stuff happens. And stuff happens that it just does get better. I've just come out of a couple of years that have been hideous. I have had moments of despair that I have never had in my whole life. And yet, despite myself and my fears and my alcoholism, my polychronic addictionalist, I got through it and things got better. So the one thing that you find out here is that in these rooms there's hope. And the reminder that everything changes. So that no matter how far out you find yourself right now, if you're at the beginning or if you've been around a long time and you're going through a really hideous time, remember, everything changes. Just hang in because things change. Surrender, stick around here, things get better. Everyone I know who has been in Alcoholics Anonymous for any length of time will tell you the same thing. They're not making that up. We don't get paid to be here. Things get better. You want to spread the word. That's the 12th step. The last step is you just go out and you try and tell other people there is hope. And If you come around, you'll find that there's hope, and then you find that the formula that you've been searching for, the formula for sobriety, the formula for the good life, and the formula for God are all the same. And you all find it right here in the spiritual program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank you.
Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.